It's really wonderful to be here again. It's been, like you said, it's been a very long, stretched out learning on the Amidah. And I want to thank Kat for holding the technology together, doesn't let it fall apart. So thank you all very much. I'm in outside of Washington, D.C. on Piscataway and Anacostia land. And I want to begin with a song that has become an earworm for me, and maybe for you as well. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and in thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Ve'asuli mikdash ve'shachanti betocham ve'anachnu nevarech Yam me'ata ve'ad olam. And many people attribute this as a Shaker hymn, but I want to set the record straight that it is actually written by John Thompson and Randy Lynn Scruggs, who is the son of Earl Scruggs, the famous banjo innovator. And he was Baptist. So I just wanted to clarify that and say that it's probably the best Hebrew adaptation from a hymn since Rock of Ages was changed, it was added to Ma'otzur. So I wanted today to complete this Amidah series that I have focused on for at least a year. And you can go back in the IJES YouTube channels to see the other, I think this is my 9th session on it. And Mark mentioned that perhaps they can put it together as a playlist so it's all in one. But you can Google them through my name, Devorah Lynn. And so I've done 8 sessions on this vital central prayer, the standing prayer. That's what Amidah means, that we stand for this prayer. And my goal has been to embody it. That's why this song says it all to me. Make me a sanctuary, make me a temple. Let me feel the Amidah with my whole body, not just the text, not just in my brain. Kat, could you put up my chart, please? So in order to embody it, I one day woke up to the fact that there are 7 blessings in the Shabbat Amidah, as you can see on the right side, that I overlaid onto the body. And on the left side are the seven main out of hundreds, maybe thousands of chakras, of energy centers in yoga that go from the root chakra up to the crown. And also I put in the sphirot that go from, usually they're thought of as going from Keter down to Malchut, top to bottom, but I've been working up from the bottom. So you see these 3 maps of the body, and they can kind of be overlaid on each other. As one person said once, like the World Book Encyclopedia used to overlay transparencies of the body. They're not perfect, but they're very close. There's 7 major chakras, energy centers in yoga, and there's 7 prayers in the Shabbat Amidah. And there's 7 layers. If you fold in the Kabbalistic tree of life, the sphirot, there's 7 layers in the tree of life. Well, actually, there's 8 if you include Keter, but in the Omer, we didn't count the top triangle. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, this 8th Keter level. My goal in this midrash, this metaphor, is to make this essential prayer, the Amidah, more than words. And it has a lot of words. Each prayer is large. It's not just a one-liner, and each ends with a one-line summary of the whole prayer, except this one I'm talking about today. We started with the prayers of our ancestors down here at the lower root level, at our feet. And we climbed our way all the way to the top of our head, the crown. Today, the keter, the eighth prayer, and it's different. It has no summary. It's optional. It's a coda, like in music. It's an afterthought. It leads from 6 days of the week and the seventh day of Shabbat into the next week, into the eighth day. If you think of the Amidah as a letter that we write to God, then this prayer, the Elohai Nitzur, is also called the Tefillat Halev, the prayer of our heart. God, many of you would know it. God, guard my tongue from evil and my lips from speaking guile. The prayer of the heart. It's like a postscript, a PS on this letter to God, with our dialogue with God in the Amidah. In case you've forgotten something in the 7 prayers of the Amidah, you can add this one and express what is on your mind, what is in your heart. At the beginning of the Amidah, we say, Adonai sifatai tiftach, open my lips and open my lips that I may declare your glory. And here in the closing, we say, Elohai nitzur lishoni me'ra, God, shut my mouth from speaking guile, so I will not be guilty, guile and guilty of expressing bad thoughts. Restrain me from skillful expression. So the two of those, Adonai Sifatai and Elohai Nitzur, they're like a parenthesis on the Amidah. Open my lips, and at the end, at the conclusion, close my lips. This prayer, Elohai Nitzur, really opens a space for us to express anything we feel is missing. It has no chatima, no ending signature like the others. It's completely open-ended. It has no theme except to express what's in your heart. The words on the page are there in case you need a suggestion. Rabbi Levi Yitzhak of Berdichev rephrases the purpose of Elohai Nitzur as, I just spoke all of these sacred words of the Amidah a few minutes ago. How dare this very same mouth speak offensive words now? So today I want to focus on this area just above our head, what you see on the left map as the crown, and what you see on the Sfirot as keter, which means crown. It's the keter space. It just hovers across our head. And actually, it's purple in the yogic system. So I made it purple today in our system of the Amidah. So let's turn off our windows, our phones, our tablets, FaceTime, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and find a space. It can be the floor, it can be a cushion on the floor, a chair, or even lying in bed or on a couch. Wherever you feel you need to be comfortable today. Let us take up that space with intention and with dignity, aligned but not rigid, relaxed but attentive. And if it feels right for you to close your eyes, and if not, you can gaze softly into the near distance and focus your mind's eye. Well, that's an interesting phrase, the mind's eye. Focus the mind's eye on this space just above our heads. Imagine that space is pulling you upright. So, or if you were lying down, it's stretching your spine a little bit, not so that it's taut, but so that it's noble, so that it's spacious. Let's take a few calming breaths. In through the nose and out through the nose if possible. And let's notice if our jaw is tight, this place where our words come out. That's a good idea, John. Just roll your jaw around, tighten it up, and then loosen it up. Let your tongue tighten and loosen. And let your lips part just a little bit, even if we're breathing through our nose, so that they are relaxed. And take another deep breath. Relaxing breath, whether deep or not. And focus on that crown, just hovering right over here. And feel the energy. Feel the energy between the upper and the lower worlds. The lower world of the material, where we are grounded, where there's gravity, and the upper world of spirituality. My teacher in Jerusalem, Rabbi Levi Weinman Kelman, writes that the Talmud lists examples of 12 personal prayers that could follow the Amidah. If this one does not speak to you, compose your own, or stand or sit in silent meditation. So if you'd like to stand for this, because it is the Amidah, we will be meditating for about 12 minutes. If this one doesn't speak to you, compose your own or stand or sit in silent meditation. So let us sit, lie down, stand for some silence, a gift of silence. And if you find that a cloud, a thought cloud, enters this space, the crown space, notice it, acknowledge it, welcome it, and say, sweetheart, I'll look at you later, and let it pass through. And know that you became aware of it. And that's the beauty of meditation, the lesson of meditation, to be aware. Mm. As we come to the conclusion of our meditation, allow that focal point of the crown, allow that space to expand and flow down across your shoulders and arms and hands, and flow down, surrounding your legs and feet, and hugging the ground on which you may be sitting or lying, with an electrical energy. Yehu ratzon imrefi v'hegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzari v'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to Yah, to you, Yah, my rock and my redeemer. And may these meditations of your heart be acceptable, be profound, or simply or simple. And maybe they be welcome to you all. Thank you very much. And let us all say Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Rabbi Devorah Lynn.
Okay.
A beautiful coda to our extended practice with the Amidah, thanks to you. And friends, I would like to invite those of you who are in mourning or observing your site to join me in the moment in the Mourner's Kaddish, as we do each day to seal our practice. If you're not reciting Kaddish, would ask that you please, if possible, remain with us, help to create a minyan of comfort to support those who are. If you are reciting Kaddish, please put the name or names of those you're honoring today in the chat now or after we recite Kaddish. And thanks to Kat for sharing the words on the screen. If you're reciting Kaddish, please join me by rising in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbi.
Amen.
V'yama Devorah Chirute, v'yamlich Malchute. V'chaye Chon, Uvyome Chon, Uchaye D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, Bizman Kariv, V'imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach, Olam Ulame Almaya. Yitbarach, Yitztabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitramam, Yitnaseh. Yithadar, Yithad, Yithlal, Yichad, La'ela, Mikol, Birchata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nechamata, Ta'amiran, Ba'alma, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Minchu, V'chaim Aleinu V'yahu Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yahu Yisrael, Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru, Amen.
Amen.
What? Friends, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're leaving us now, we hope to join us tomorrow for practice with Yiska Smith, who'll be joining us from Jerusalem to lead us in practice. And on Friday, Rebecca Schisler, of course, will lead us to sit into Shabbat together. You're welcome to stay on for conversation with Rabbi Devorah Lynn, our teacher for today, or just to continue to sit with your Amidah and with that to compose your own PS to your letter to the divine right now. Use the time and space to do that. You're welcome to do that. And if you have a question that you'd like to put to Devorah, please put it in the chat. We'll keep an eye on that. Devorah, thank you so much. I just want to say kol hakavod for not only the beautiful teaching, but the challenge of doing it over a period of time, and the way you recapped it today, I thought was even for people who hadn't joined us for the earlier sessions, I think made it really accessible and hopefully gives people a new perspective and a new approach to understanding really probably the central prayer in Jewish tradition, other than the Shema, the Amidah, as an embodied contemplative practice. So I also want to, Kat, if you're able to put the link in the chat. I mentioned that Devorah is co-chair of the Jewish Earth Alliance, which is a network of Jewish grassroots organizations that are working very hard to combat climate change. And there are many opportunities, including one around Tisha B'Av, to take action in collaboration with the Jewish Earth Alliance. So I want to say also kol hakavod and thank you for the work that you've done with the Alliance as well. But first, I want to ask you about that too, but I want to first stay with our subject. And I think like the first question I really have for you as someone who's an experienced meditator and who's got a facility with Jewish prayer is the nexus between prayer and meditation. We're using prayer here as a basis for a meditation. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to just invite you to maybe speak a little bit about the Venn diagram, about where you, at least for you, Jewish prayer and meditation are kind of separate practices and where they overlap or intersect.
Yes. Thank you, Mark. I think you said at one session, well, this is a way that you can take the Amidah with you. You can take it anywhere you go, because if it's in your body, if you can feel it in your body, and you don't need the book. And there was a point where I was tired of holding the Siddur, and I would put it down, and that Venn diagram of meditation, I would stop looking at the words and I would open my heart to find the prayer that I could express directly from my heart. And I thought, wow, I've spent hours and hours and hours standing for this Amidah prayer. And I felt a little disappointed at the end. Like I wasn't really feeling that audience with the divine. Mm-hmm. And so once I started lessening my dependence on the words, not that the words aren't beautiful, but like the 4 questions at Pesach, they're really a suggestion. You can compose a prayer within each topic yourself. And I got a lot of that. I served as a chaplain for quite a long time, and I learned from my Christian colleagues how to compose prayers and how to pray spontaneously, which has not been a real norm in the Jewish tradition. But once you provide a space for that, particularly with people in the hospital or in nursing homes, in hospice, once you provide a space where they can contribute, boy, a lot really comes out.
Yeah.
What's really interesting in the last prayer that I said, the Yeyu L'Ratzon, which is an ending, either that or Oseh Shalom. The word meditation is in it. Hegion means, right. It has many meanings. I looked it up the other day. I meant to write all day.
Hegion be the meditations of my heart, right?
Yes, that's the meditations of my heart is right there, but we've been ignoring it. We haven't really touched it. And so it's interesting.
It really is, I guess what I'm thinking is that at least for the intersection part where prayer and meditation come together, at least in this practice, is that for me, I'll just speak for myself, it draws my attention to different qualities of energy. And, tree of life and the embodiment, the chart that sort of locates these in the chakras or the different aspects of our physical being.
Each
I
have a
don't get,
different
I
energy.
personally don't get too hung up on like where exactly in the body it is, but just like the fact that it's in the body is Dayenu for that. But here the idea that this is kind of this energy floating above the crown of the head.
Right.
And I guess what I liked about that was that it made the connection, first of all, that is, as you pointed out, it's not really part of the Amida. I mean, it's a postscript to the Amida. And really, it's anyone can make up their own words like that. The language that you're using is in the Talmud. Like one rabbi says this after the Amida, another rabbi. There are lots of alternatives that are offered as examples, but basically everyone is invited, like you said, to find the words of their own heart.
Open-ended.
Right. So it's the kind of the freelance,
Right. It's
free
freelance.
flowing, and it makes a connection between the fixed and the individual. Like it's a really sort of like you just said about the spontaneous prayer. It's about something that's spontaneous and it's happening right now. Like
Yeah.
if you felt comfortable, everybody here, offering a spontaneous prayer right now, what would happen? What would come out of your mouth? And what would that feel like? I mean, for many of us, that creates anxiety, right? I know that for me, being called on all of a sudden out of the blue, Rabbi, why don't you offer a blessing, right? Chaplains get a lot of practice in that, but rabbis and other specialties don't necessarily get that. There's a little bit of panic, but here it's really like, oh, what is the prayer of my heart right now? What is the yearning of my heart? So I really, really appreciated that. Laura's asking, it's a good question too, in that vein. What happens when it's for caregivers who are more attuned to other people's feelings and the prayers of their heart? What suggestions do you have for helping people discern what are in fact the words in their own hearts?
I was just thinking that it would be interesting in talking to the person you were giving care to ask them to bless you, to say a prayer. What will be the prayer they would say for you? And I think that part of our meditation is when I talked about the cloud coming in and welcoming it, that usually particularly for caregivers, that is a laundry list. I'm thinking of, Cornfield's book, After the Ecstasy, After Revelation, After Sinai is the laundry. Right. And usually those things that float in, at least for me, I'll speak for me, there are laundry lists of things. And certainly if you're giving care to someone, there's a long list. And so I think the practice of restraining that I don't know if restraining is the right word. It's welcoming it, but saying, I'll talk to you later. I think one of our meditation teachers said, sweetheart, I'll talk to you later. And it will still be there. And letting it go is an important thing for caregivers to practice, letting go that list and then getting in touch with the prayer of your heart. Yeah,
that's wise advice. So shifting gears a little bit about the connection between this and your work with the Earth Alliance. Maybe say a little bit about that.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm also going to I'm putting the chat. I'm putting a link in the chat. If people want to easily find the whole series that you've offered, you can use that link, and we will be making a playlist, like a separate, distinctive playlist, so that if people want to revisit any or all of the series, you will have access to that pretty easily.
Yes. Great. Actually, I was one thing about prayer overlapping with mindfulness, with meditation is music. That music is very important to me in prayer, and it is my connection or my gateway into meditation, I think, just as chanting is. But the music that we have in the synagogue is, I think, is quite beautiful and so varied, and from pop music to opera music, it's amazing. So yes, I'm the co-chair of Jewish Earth Alliance, which has been around for only about four years now. Let's see, 2017 we started, an auspicious year. And there was a vacuum of the Jewish voice on Capitol Hill. And a bunch of us in Washington said, hey, let's go to Capitol Hill. So we started collecting letters from green groups all around the country and delivering them by hand to their members of Congress. And when the pandemic started, we changed to Zoom and emails and texts and calls. They're still doing the same thing. We are encouraging and teaching people how to communicate with their members of Congress. For us, particularly on climate legislation. And the week of Tisha B'Av, we are having our second lobbying day of this Congress, because so much is happening, and the Inflation Reduction Act is so promising. And it's just huge, and it really lifted our spirits, and this argument over the budget about it is lowering our spirits, but we are increasing our action on it. So the week of Tisha B'Av, we're going to encourage people in groups, Jewish groups for each state and each member of Congress, to call them to have a meeting with them. And we did this in February, and it was highly successful. So we want to do it again. And so on June 20th, many of you may know Ed Begley Jr., who was in Saint Elsewhere and many, many other movies and TV shows. He's called Mr. Climate Hollywood. He has accepted our invitation, is going to speak along with a member of Congress on June 20th, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock California, Western time, Pacific time. And we are preparing for lobbying. So he's going to talk about his experience. And then on July 18th, we will have a briefing for lobbying. So if you go to our website, which is really simple, jewishearthalliance.org, and go down to the label of opportunities, you can sign up for these meetings, and all are welcome. And we want to show you how easy it is to lobby. That's the interesting part of it, that most people are kind of, scared at first to do that.
It's almost like offering a spontaneous prayer.
No, we prepare. we go we go with an agenda.
I mean, in terms of anxiety.
I know. Yeah, anxiety. Right. Oh, that you mean the anxiety part?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. They are normal people, and a lot of the times you're talking to staff, and they are usually very young, ordinary, normal people. I shouldn't say ordinary people; they're special. And we're talking to them, and people are amazed at how easy it actually is to be there. You don't have to say anything; you can just be there. But how they want to talk to us, because they're actually kind of sick of talking to lobbyists who have a lot of money in their pockets. They want to talk to real people, the real people on the ground. So
all right. Well, thank you for bringing those opportunities to everyone's attention, Devorah, and for your tireless work in this area, which of course is so important. And I just want to end by noting that, the topic today, which really has to do with the words that emerge from us, and we're thinking about prayer, the Amidah, as kind of a practice for why using the gift of speech, which of course in our tradition is understood as the essential creative act, that we create and recreate the world through our words, and that the Amidah, as you've presented it with that parentheses before and after, is a practice in reminding ourselves, okay, I want to use this breath I want to use these words, and I want to use my gift of communication in a way that furthers the ends of creation, and closes my mouth to things that don't do that. So thanks for modeling that both in the practice today and in the activism that you're involved in, and sharing that with us today and for this whole series has been really wonderful. So thanks to Kat.
You're welcome.
Thanks to each
My
of you for
pleasure.
being here. And we hope to see everybody tomorrow to join Yiska Smith from Jerusalem to lead us in practice, and Rebecca Sisler on Friday. And just a reminder, next week, 4 days of practice with Rabbi Sam Fine-Smith that we're very much looking forward to. Okay, everyone, be well. Many blessings.
An honor and a pleasure. Bye-bye.